Hey, Lou.
What's up, Patsy?
Not a whole lot. You look good today. What happened?
Uh, I'm on the phone. That's why.
Oh, well, you see, there you go. There you go. I like
I
it.
just got a shower a half hour ago. How's that?
Well, I meant the signal's good.
Yeah, there's a better. Well, the camera's 5 years old on the computer.
Oh, there you go. How old your phone too?
A year.
Year? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. That'll work. We we're on, by the way, just in case you forgot. Um, two things today. I think is obviously we want to talk about the dueling town halls. And then I remembered the map, so I didn't need you.
Good, because well, no, I do have a note here.
Yeah, you see.
Map. I didn't have a chance to look. What was the dueling town hall deal?
Uh, well, at
As
the end of
far
the day,
as far as share.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw our Discord group, um, but it wasn't in our Discord group. I don't know where the hell I saw it then. But even whenever you take MSNBC into account, um, Biden still drew far more. So
Well,
that's going to hit,
that
shithead ego.
yeah, that got to be eating the shit out of him.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does. Yeah, it doesn't bother me any. But
narcissists like that.
that asshole was on three separate networks, right? NBC, MSNBC, and CNBC,
Yeah,
and he drew less than Biden did on ABC. It's going to make him crazy.
yeah, good.
It's got to make him crazy. Uh I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to lay odds that he's never even going to bring it up. You're never going to see the crazy uncle tweet, which, by the way, may have been the line of the night.
Oh, from Savannah Guthrie.
Yeah, yeah.
Between I watched Rachel last night, but while she was rehashing that, and then I saw clips on Morning Joe with Savannah this morning. I'm like, you know what? Why aren't more journalists doing this?
I don't know. One thing I did notice, I'm no longer watching MSNBC, but my wife is, and I'm not going to tell her no, obviously, right? So whenever it was over, uh, she immediately went on MSNBC. Well, whenever at 9 o'clock she did, because it's Maddow. I mean, it's just that's what you do at 9 o'clock. And boy, she seemed a little pissed. Maddow, I mean, that they
Yeah.
even covered it. And then Lawrence O'Donnell at 10 o'clock seemed to be the same way. He was a little pissed off too at the beginning of his show.
Well, you know what? The way they did it, the way NBC did it, and then tried to get ABC to move Joe, and I think they all knew that. That's what pissed them off.
Was it you and I? I'm
And
sorry.
ABC said we were here first.
Well, was it you and me, or was it the three of us? Well, it might have been me and Frank. Oh, fuck, I can't remember. But we were talking about, and I said, how much did NBC have to hustle, and how much did they have to put in to get Trump away from Fox Entertainment for last night? I mean, that wasn't just like, hey, why don't you come on our channel? I mean, they had to fight for that because he won't go anywhere but Fox Entertainment.
Yeah, it makes you wonder: was it that Condi that cut the deal, or Fox didn't want to do it?
I can't believe that. Look, whether you like the asshole or not, he draws eyeballs. right? I mean, he if you are a entity that it relies on exposure, you want him on your network every day, whether you agree with him or not. And he's constantly calling it into Fox Entertainment. I mean, my God, he talks to those three idiots on the couch in the morning like they're his kids.
Yeah, it is something. Um, it's just I don't. You could tell Rachel was sitting there, just looking at her eyes and her mannerisms. And then she, you know what? I was waiting for her to come out flat out right and say, "This is a shit show."
I don't know if you saw, if you noticed anything on Twitter, but uh, somebody said, "Did her neck get thicker?" And somebody, that's what they posted. The battle's neck get thicker, and somebody responded with, "Yeah, that's what happens normally when you get pissed off about things." And I thought it was great, but she was pissed off pretty much the whole day. If you followed like if you follow her on Twitter or like her blog, and uh even like I said, after that shit show of a town hall, this was not a she was pissed. She was flat out pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame her one bit. Uh do you think the backlash that they got, and I'm kind of holding out, seeing if wait for Frank to come in so the three of us can talk, assuming he's coming. And do you think that the backlash that they got, not only from like folks like us, but even their own people, the Maddows and O'Donnells and whatever of the world, do you think that backlash is enough to make them maybe think twice before doing this shit again?
Uh, Depends how well that guy takes the criticism and advice from his people there. I mean, that guy, he's what, director of news?
That's Chucky Todd, isn't it?
No, there's that guy over Todd. Todd wouldn't have had the authority to cut that deal. That what's his name? Chris Condi.
I don't know.
He's the one that's kind of screwed up them a little bit, and I'm guessing it was his decision to do that. I would say he approached the White House to do that at the same time. For what reason, God only knows. Don't you think he would have said, "Hey, let's do it Wednesday"?
Well, don't you think that you have? See, this is where it gets silly, right? Because you have one channel, because you have your whole thing, right? And let's not forget, NBC is owned by Comcast. Okay, so there's that part too. But if you're just looking at the NBC brand, which is the network NBC, which is MSNBC and CNBC, right? Those are the three that are basically, well, you have NBCSN too, but they're sports. You have one network, one of your networks, which is basically very liberal, right? Which would be MSNBC. You have one that is actually rather conservative in CNBC, believe it or not. I mean, if you pay attention to them at all, right? And then you have what should be like your mainstream, cut it down the middle, NBC, your traditional network. But when you do shit like this, you have a tendency to kneecap these things. I don't understand why they just didn't put him either on NBC and leave MSNBC and CNBC alone, or cater to your more conservative audience in CNBC and leave NBC and MSNBC alone. To me, I don't know what you think, but what do you think? I mean, it would seem to me that would have been the better idea.
don't forget they were looking for more exposure, and I'm going to say CNBC. And don't forget, MSNBC isn't carried in a lot of parts of the country on cable.
Not on basic cable, huh? You have to pay for it.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Comcast has it on basic around here, but there's people that have never heard of MSNBC. They watch Fox, and they aren't even given a choice of an alternate news feed.
Yeah, if they're lucky, they get CNN.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I said it again. I said it last night though, Frank or Ray Lou. You would think this is something that CNN would have done.
Yeah, I could have seen them jumping on it.
Yeah, I could have too.
But of course, that's Jake Tapper and Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon. I mean, do you think he would have gone? Well, yeah, he would have gone there. He's too damn narcissistic.
Yeah, sure he would have.
Just to get on against Biden, the opposite, time.
Just to make sure that Biden doesn't have an exclusive on the airtime. He'd have done.
Yeah, doesn't get it all.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll get into the meat and potatoes of it. What were your takeaways from? We'll start with the obvious. We'll start with Biden. Obviously you watched the Biden one. What were your thoughts? What'd you think?
You know what? I thought Biden did a good job. I mean, you're going through a lot of topics. He kind of knows what's coming from certain people, what their concerns are, and I think he handled them well. I mean, Stephanopoulos jumped in a number of times, trying to cut him off. And I don't know if you noticed a couple of the questions, Stephanopoulos is trying to cut him off, and he's like, I'm finishing my explanation to this woman. And that's where he says, I'll talk to you after. And he his word is good. He goes and talks to them after.
I want to say it was almost an hour after, wasn't it?
You know what? And I still think I didn't catch it because I didn't see the last 15 minutes or so, but they asked him about how many people on the Supreme Court and that thing. And I'm waiting for him or Kamala to say, they stole 100 of Biden or Obama's picks plus a Supreme Court justice. Why don't you ask the Republicans about court packing?
Yeah.
Ask Mitch McConnell. That would be my answer. And then because what are they gonna come back with, the journalists?
Yeah, not a whole lot. Yeah.
They may, well, what's your view? Well, you know what? They just screwed us the last 6 years for balanced courts. And another thing I would point out is on those 100 picks, I believe 80 of them were not even approved by the American Bar Association because they felt they were inexperienced or flat out bad. I mean, 80% of those picks, all they are is Republican right-wing hacks.
Right. It's the funny thing when you get to this extreme, but it always comes back to bite you in the ass. Did you happen to see any of the Trump thing or even any of the highlights?
I saw on Morning Joe this morning a couple highlights when she was asking him about QAnon.
Oh, yeah.
And his retweets about some of the white supremacist things. I did see a couple of those. And you know what? She come back at him pretty quick. You're the president. You're not one of those. How'd she put it about the weird uncle?
You're not somebody's crazy uncle.
You're not somebody's crazy uncle. You're the president.
Yeah, I thought that was the best line of the night.
And then Trump comes back with, what about Antifa, this and that? How's he know about Antifa when he claims he doesn't know about QAnon and the Proud Boys? And what is
I know they're against pedophilia, right? Well, that's not a stretch. Everybody on the fucking planet's against pedophilia.
Anybody that's normal is against pedophilia.
I mean, if that's the one thing, the one nice thing I can say about anybody, right? It's, well, they're against pedophilia.
Well, yeah. They're also against reality. Do you have a chance to read that article I sent over on QAnon from
I did
CNN?
not. I mean, I'm sure. I promise you, everybody else in the group did, but I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, it's but he knows about it. He knows they're backing him. That's his base.
That's the
That's
problem, right?
it's his gullible base. And it's just, do you realize how many QAnons are running for office?
I know. I know one woman that is. That's the only one I know.
I thought they said it was something like 15 this morning.
Oh, really?
Across the country. I know there's somebody in Georgia, there's somebody in Colorado for Congress, at other various levels. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you know what? All I can say is 40 years of Republicans cutting education have sure paid off in a lot of dumbasses.
Yeah. Yeah, it paid off bigly, didn't it?
Bigly for them.
It paid off bigly.
And the only other karma that's biting them in the ass is all these people that cheered education cuts now are whining, I can't find any good people to work in my facility because they're stupid. Yeah.
They're stupid.
Guess what? You voted Republican. No shit. They can't even scratch their ass and walk at the same time.
No.
And you want them to read. Yeah. Remember OSG?
Yeah.
How many of them couldn't even read a tape measure?
2 ticks past the 4, right? No, the top of the first hinge was what, 3 inches, 3 something, and it would be what would we get? It's 3 marks past the 3 or some shit like that. Remember?
Oh my god!
Oh, what was the one? 2/8. I forgot who the hell, and he argued with me, right?
Oh, that's right. What is that hinge? It's 7 2/8. What?
Yeah, you need 7 1/4. No. 7 2/8. Look, count.
7 2/8.
Yeah, remember?
Yeah. That's what you're dealing with.
And I promise you, all of those idiots, every one of them on that floor, voted Republican. Name one that did. Maybe, well, he's dead now, so I don't want to say, but maybe the maintenance guy may have been the only one who didn't. Maybe.
Larry.
Yeah, maybe Larry.
Yeah, they're.
I told you. I told you that story.
Voted. That's if they even voted.
That's if they even voted. Yeah. But if they did, they were Republican. I told you the story about Fridays, right? And then I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but remember on Fridays, I used to bring donuts in on Friday, right?
Right.
And not only did I bring the donuts in, this is whenever they moved us back to the office that neither of us liked, before we were in our own office. When it was just you, me, and, well Dina, was Dina even still there? No, it was just you and me.
I think maybe she had just left.
Yeah. That's a shame. I liked her too.
I think because she got married and they decided to go to Florida.
Yeah, that's a shame. I liked her. I liked the guy. I liked her husband. I liked the guy she married. He was a really nice guy.
You know what? What are you gonna do? I mean, she had nothing here. I can't blame her.
No, I can't either. It was good. She did well. It was nice to see that things finally started to break her way a little bit. Anyhow.
You know what? Her husband's daughter actually lives down the street from me.
Oh, really?
Down by you know where that little farm market is at the Y?
Yeah.
Next house up, coming this way on the left.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, you know what? I had stopped there to buy something not that long ago, a burn barrel for my dad. And I said, I knew Dina from working. I said, tell her and Paul hi. So
Paul was a great guy. He was all right.
But anyhow, we got distracted. But yeah, I thought I was trying to remember the other clip I saw with Savannah on that also. Oh, about the other highlight was she basically got him to admit that he owes for over 400 million.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
wouldn't divulge who to. He was trying to fluff. Oh, it's not Russia or foreign. How, and the only thing I would have come back with if I was her was there wasn't a U.S. bank that's lent you money since '98.
Yeah.
You know, so what bank is it,
Yeah.
or who to?
Yeah. She hit him hard. First of all, I kind of have to apologize because I didn't think that she would, and I kind of called her out and said she wouldn't do a very good job. Boy, was I wrong. Uh, from everything I've seen, she did a great job. She did what's his name on Fox Entertainment should have done on the first debate. Chris Wallace, right? Now that being said, I'm not by any means suggesting that Wallace was up to anything nefarious. I just think she was just the better choice. But over and over again, I thought she did a really good job of fact checking him and keeping him on point, and that was the key, right? She never really allowed him to stray very far, and just taking up that time. She really kept him on point, and I thought Stephanopoulos actually did a pretty good job with Biden about that because whenever Biden would say something, or I can't tell you how many times Stephanopoulos would jump in and say, "Hey, what about this?" or "Hey, how about that?" And
No,
Joe answered him. I mean, they really. I thought both of them did a really good job.
Something else. So it must have went through that whole MSNBC family because even Willie Geist said something this morning to the effect of, "I know everybody wasn't happy around here with Trump getting aired, with Trump, coming on NBC after Biden was already booked." And he says the only thing that come out of this was is Savannah Guthrie did a wonderful job because they basically said he lost the debate to himself.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't doubt that for a second. Not for a second. Look, and we've said it how many times, dude. This clown just can't help himself, right? Uh it's the whole idea that out of all the networks on the planet to give this guy a platform, uh, opposite Joe Biden, that it was NBC that did it. That's what pissed everybody off. It wasn't the
Yeah.
fact that he had it. I mean, if honest to God, what do you think the backlash would have been if instead of take out NBC and put in Fox News? Do you think there'd have been any backlash at all?
No, they would have expected that.
Yeah. Well, what do you expect? Right? And he probably would have done a better job, even though it still would have been a shit show. It would have been a more polished shit show. And uh, Guthrie did a good job because everybody on Fox Entertainment after the debate, or debate, I'm sorry, town hall, or even during the town hall, all they did was whine about how mean she was to him. The president of the United States, a reporter was too mean to him. Are you fucking kidding me? A reporter was too mean to the president. Am I missing something?
Yeah. No, you're not missing anything. Because Bill O'Reilly, of course, accused Stephanopoulos of being too nice to Biden. But you were right. Stephanopoulos kept him on point. But don't forget, Biden's courteous. He's not an asshole either.
Oh, that's the thing, right? Whenever you have somebody who's more than willing to look at somebody, I want to talk about that real quick in a second after I get off my spiel a little bit. Who's willing to field a question from somebody in the audience, have their spin on it, or say whatever their view is on it. Have the moderator come in and either do a follow up or kind of hold them to answering the question whenever they don't feel like exactly answering it directly. Um, the moderator is going to be a lot more. He's going to be I don't want to say softer, but a lot more civil whenever you're being civil back to the moderator. You know, whenever it's very obvious you're not giving the moderator a bunch of shit, a bunch of bullshit where you're actually answering them, or even if you're spinning it. But you do so in a very polite way. It's very difficult for the moderator to come at you hard, right? And you contrast that with Savannah Guthrie, who at one time had to hear from the president of the United States that what she did was cute. That's going to set a tone, you know? I mean, how do you look at a moderator and tell them they're being cute, or they are cute, or whatever? Really? How do you expect that not to go straight in the fucking toilet after that?
Yeah, that's that. That realm of that. Well, not just that administration, Republican Party of misogynism. Women aren't supposed to be talking back to men and and calling them out on their bullshit. Supposed to be a good little girl, put an apron on and cook food, have a baby.
Barefoot and pregnant.
Yeah. That's 90% of what Roe versus Wade is about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Republicans sure don't give a shit about somebody once you're born.
No. They don't give a fuck about you until you're military age. Then they think you're the best thing in the world until you're done serving. Then again, they don't care about you.
Right. And then if you're hurt, you don't get disability or good medical care.
No. And if it's nothing physical, then you just have a headache. Grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Go on.
Never mind. I'm not going to say it.
The one thing that really I don't want to say if I appreciate it or it really struck a chord with me was multiple times last night. Joe Biden looked at whoever was asking him, whoever posted the question or whoever asked him the question, and he looked at them and he said, "Did I answer your question?" Or "I hope I answered your question," or something like that. But he acknowledged that this person asked him a question and that he was addressing them, right? "I hope I answered your question," or whatever. Or like you said earlier, where he said, "You know what? Stick around afterwards." And I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And we'll get into this better, when we're done. Basically telling him, "Stick around. We'll talk whenever we're finished." I want to think that has a pretty strong impact on people who may be on the fence, even though I don't think that's too many, and I don't think it's going to affect the electorate any. But still, that goes a long way, don't you think?
Yeah, I really believe it does. I mean, like I said, there was a number that asked him questions that were either Republican, voted for Trump, on the fence, not sure. The guy from Pittsburgh voted Trump, Cannonsburg, which is basically Pittsburgh South.
Right.
He answered him flat out on his question, and he explained the jobs bill and, how basically the tax structure works when you're taking it to do infrastructure. And you know what? I was on a Zoom meeting last week with some of the people in the know in the industry, and they said, two of the guys kind of hinted that, they're not going to say outright, but they kind of hinted they're hoping for Biden because they know he's going to put infrastructure in there. And they said even a small amount of infrastructure would go a hell of a long way, and they know that.
Yeah.
In a construction industry, they know that.
Infrastructure is huge in the construction industry.
Well, sure. And they basically said, well, this guy's had 4 years and he never put anything through.
I heard something today along that same timeline that Oh, I want to say it was Jonathan Capehart. I might be wrong, and if it is, I apologize. Uh, who said whenever they started talking about the healthcare plan, right, and the Republican healthcare plan, that the unveiling of the Republican healthcare plan has been 2 weeks away for the last 4 years.
Didn't Savannah Guthrie say 3 weeks away the last 10 years?
Yeah, I guess
I
I don't
think,
know, but
I think that she asked, you know what? Matter of fact, I think she asked him about that. And all he keeps coming up with is, oh, we took away the mandate. We took away the mandate. She says, well, people are going to lose their health care. You're in the Supreme Court right now trying to get rid of pre existing conditions.
yeah.
And he says, well, we have a better plan. She says, you've had a better plan for 10 years and nobody's ever come up with it.
No one's ever told anybody what it is.
She brought that up too. That was probably another thing they were pissed about. She was mean. I forgot about that. They showed that highlight this morning also.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
You know what? I have pre-existing conditions and I'm pretty damn healthy.
Yeah.
Because I had a hip replacement.
Right. Yeah.
I was going to say, you had surgery, you're pre-existing condition.
I've had bunches of surgeries.
But I mean, anybody that, and if you ever look to what some of the pre-existing conditions are, there's some things on there that would surprise the hell out of you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. To backtrack a little bit, because while we're talking, I'm looking things up, and I have somebody who sent me things. Here's all we need to know about what we said earlier. Okay. More people watched Biden on ABC than Trump on NBC, MSNBC, and CNN. Or I'm sorry, CNBC. More than all of them combined, apparently. Right? He averaged 14.1 million, which honestly is pretty good considering how polarized we are. Okay. Trump town hall averaged 10.6 million. On NBC was 1.74 MSNBC was 1.74 because let's face it, people were pissed. And CNBC wasn't even a million, was just over 500,000, right? Just over 500,000. You add them all up, it ain't 14.1, right? You're looking at about a 3 million, 2.5 million difference.
Is there anything on there about the streaming channels?
Well, then here you go. The Nielsen ratings only measure viewership on TV sets. Both town halls were also live streamed to phones, computers, and other devices. But there's no industry standard to measure all the various ways the town halls were streamed. That's sad because honestly, that's not a hard metric to find. In fact, it's easier than TV whenever you figure how much of that is over the air, and it's really hard to measure that. You can follow the traffic, you can follow the bits. Your ISP doesn't have a problem telling you what those numbers are because they know it in real time. So that's just whatever these ratings companies are. That's just them being lazy, or maybe they don't want to pay for the data, which is probably more true than being lazy. But that being said, you got to figure if folks aren't watching it on television, Trump's losing, right? Because the people who are backing him, in numbers that really matter when you consider 370 million people in this country, right? With numbers that are going to have any kind of statistical impact at all, are probably those people aren't watching it on cell phones or streaming it online. All right, because they're older, they're using their cable boxes and following it that way. You're not going to get an 18 to 24-year-old or enough of them to really have any kind of impact watching Trump, or really maybe even watching Biden. That's not really their thing. So those numbers are probably pretty good. I would say they're probably about as close as we're going to get. It's not accurate, but it's as accurate as possible, probably. So he struck out there too. He should have stayed on Fox News.
Here's a great quote here. Brian Behar. Savannah Guthrie is so mean. Doesn't give me a ton of faith that he stands up to Putin during their secret chats. He's a writer for he's a blogger, TV writer, HuffPost blogger, emotional eater.
Lou, where'd you go? Lou. All right, that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. I was wondering who bounced out on that one.
Yeah. Wow. That was a spike of some kind.
Probably some Trumpkin attacking our feed.
Well, yeah, I wonder which one of our neighborhoods is more likely to do that. You know,
I don't think anybody in these neighborhoods are smart enough to do it.
I promise you, nobody out like at the end of my driveway going either direction. None of those fuckers are smart enough to do that.
I might have a couple here actually.
Yeah, actually, you probably do. You go well. Let's put it this way: odds are you do before I do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. To kind of go back on what we were talking about, right? Which is probably the line of the night. You're not like somebody's crazy uncle. Your gut feeling, Lou. Do you think that he actually he's calculating this and doing that because he knows it plays to a certain base, or do you think that whenever he's actually doing these things, it's kind of like he's letting his guard down and you're actually seeing the real him? Which one do you think it is, or is it both?
You know what? He's trying to keep his base up, and I do not. But he has doubled down on that base for so long that, like we talked about, he's got that 40.
Yeah,
I truly believe him. Especially in the Midwest where we're sitting. Technically, we're east, but we're like 5 miles from the Midwest. Those people that gave him a shot are turning on him. You don't swing 9 points, 10 points in polls in Ohio, 6 in Pennsylvania, 8 in Michigan, 8 the other way in Wisconsin, Arizona, you're swinging, Florida swinging the other way, Iowa, 10-point swing the other way.
What do you think the reason for that is?
There isn't that much base. It's he just hit it at the right time. People didn't care. They said, let's give this outsider a chance. And nobody realized how he wasn't vetted properly by the mainstream media, even though.
Well, no, because he was giving them numbers. He wouldn't do it.
Right. And I'm sitting back there thinking, why the hell isn't the mainstream media putting out these stories now that we've been talking about the last couple of years? This shit was known before he ran.
I am going to say now, either correct me or agree with me, or or somewhere in between, that the only reason he got what he got and probably still has what he has is because you have so many people, and yeah, I really think it's that, if you think about the numbers, it really is that high, that just couldn't stomach a black president for 8 years and then a female afterwards. And that's why he got the push he got. Now you're seeing somebody who he's going against who was the number 2 guy to the black president. And they just can't stomach it. So they're just going to play on their anger. What do you think? Think I'm close?
You know what? You had a lot of those Obama voters that voted for Trump because he was an outsider, giving him a chance. Okay, if they voted for Obama, why wouldn't they go back and vote for Biden? You also had, I think the reason you saw they voted for the black president, they'd rather have the black guy instead of the woman.
Well, I agree with that completely.
Okay, now you're back to the old white guy again. Well, this old white guy is at least has more common sense than the dumbass that's in there.
I think that's why there's a 10 to 12 point difference.
I really believe that.
Yeah. I
Um, I think if Biden's in there, he may only sit one term. How will Kamala do?
Well, here's my question, because now she hits both of them, right? Because now she's black and she's female, so she's, it's the exacta there. Um,
But she's a lot more charismatic than Hillary.
well, yeah, but you know what? So are, four of the walls of my house, right?
Well,
Uh,
yeah.
if, and boy, am I pulling this out of my ass, but if during Biden's first term, he really does a lot to keep her involved and to kind of at least share a spotlight with her. Okay. You think that helps her out whenever he decides he's not running for a second term? Because basically, you've seen her for 4 years.
Yeah, I do. And another reason I think you're seeing that swing back toward Biden now, think about this. How many people of color did not turn out to vote for Hillary?
Enough.
Not just people of color, but a lot of people in general.
Enough.
Okay.
Enough. Right?
Don't forget, because you know why they're coming out for Biden? Because he had the first black president's back.
And he was
In
very adamant about it. You knew he
in
had his back.
everything that happened, Biden had his back.
Yeah.
It's called respect.
Yeah. It's funny how that comes back to reward you later. Here's another question I have for you. Now, I promise you, no one else is talking about this. I promise you, no one else is, because this is ballsy as shit. Okay. Uh, Biden wins in less than 20 days. Okay. Biden wins. 4 years from now, he decides he's not running again. Who's Harris chooses her running mate?
Buttigieg.
I mean, generically, I'm not looking for an exact name, but are you going with an older white guy? Are you going with a younger white guy? Are you going with an African American? Are you going with an Asian American? Are are you going with another female?
I would think, knowing what they
I
know,
would
they
love to
wouldn't.
see Buttigieg there, but
They
I mean,
won't go with another female. You also have. Don't forget, Buttigieg is young.
but he's gay. That's going to be hard to win the South.
Beto.
Beto's a big maybe.
Um, Andrew Yang.
There's your Asian, right? That guy's smarter than shit.
He's
There were
smarter than
times. There were times he was the smartest person on that stage during the
Oh,
debate.
without a doubt. I mean, he knows. Um, there's other people out there that may rise up also in the meantime.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting dynamic, right? Uh it's not going to be an easy choice. It's really not. Those 4 years that she's in there with Biden are going to be really, really important. Really, really important. Uh,
Because you're gonna be heading into 8, 9, 10% unemployment first of the year. I
yeah.
mean, it's there now, but those people are going to be running out of money.
Well, the upside is, well, I don't mean the upside. That's sort of shitty, but um, the upside for the Biden campaign is people are going to be experiencing that far more closer to the front end of his first term than the back end. And we traditionally have a very short memory. Um, I wanted to get into the map. Remember, it looks like it's just going to be you and me, but here's something I wanted to show you here real quick, Lou, which is, kind of pertains to the electoral map that we're going to be filling in. Um, Pennsylvania counties are spending millions of dollars to prevent an election nightmare by counting votes faster. Basically, what this is saying here is PA counties bought new equipment because a new law allows any voter to vote by mail. Which, if you're not living here in PA, that might be news to you. That's what the one thing I always tell everybody, Lou, is Pennsylvania is a good 50, 60 years behind everybody else. Um, we bought more on before the June 2nd primary, simply because of COVID-19. Um, but the fact of the matter is, the state itself, the Commonwealth, whatever you want to, however you want to do it, um, seems to be moving in a direction where we are doing well. If you ever did anything in IT, that looks so familiar. Uh, there are plenty of equipment costs, yada 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 yada. It's a very good article, right? The Philadelphia Inquirer did a really good job, and they really were very in depth about this thing. So Pennsylvania is really doing its due diligence in order to address all of the issues that are going to come with so many people voting by mail this year. Maybe it's not as bad as it seems, or people are saying. And again, I'm going to ask the question. We're going to get on this map in a second. Do you really care if it takes another day or two? As long as you get it right.
There shouldn't be a time. I mean, the trouble is the last number of years it's been instant gratification. You know, they make the call, they have their samples, they can pretty much hit it. You know what? 100 years ago, they didn't know the results for a month.
Right. I think the reason PA is doing this though is because they're the state is really working hard to make sure that Trump doesn't have the chance to call himself the winner on election night, you know, before any of the ballots are cast or anything like that. I mean, if he ends up winning PA, then fine, he ends up winning it. But he's just not. It's going to be very difficult for him to just arbitrarily at 11 o'clock, election day night, decide that he won PA.
Right, and who knows who's in his back pocket in PA?
Well, the legislature is, right?
Right. The only thing is I think they also know that Wolf and Shapiro have been keeping a pretty good eye on them, because there was a couple things they were starting to do that they dropped.
Right. But by getting a jump on the mail-in ballots prior to the polls closing, Biden should start with a healthy lead. You would think, right?
You would think.
Yeah. I mean, we understand we do live in Pennsylvania, but this will at least, if it doesn't prevent him from declaring victory, it's really going to hinder him a whole hell of a lot. I mean, he's so fucking arrogant, ignorant, he may just do it anyhow. But
and still, don't forget, I think he's going to be laser focused on Pennsylvania, and I still think one or two of those other states are going to come up and bite him in the ass before they even call Pennsylvania.
And PA won't matter.
And PA won't matter.
We won't matter. I told you, was it last night I told you or the night before? I really don't want our state to matter. I want Pennsylvania to be irrelevant. That a lot has to happen, and we're gonna check it out right now. But I'm really hoping that PA doesn't matter one bit. So here we are with a blank slate, Lou. Just you and me. Okay? Just you and me. Shall we start with the ones? Well, let's start with the ones that are definitely going blue. Okay? So California. Washington State. Help me out.
Washington, Oregon.
Okay.
New York. Illinois.
Hold on. Slow down. Where are we at here? Illinois.
Massachusetts,
Massachusetts,
Connecticut,
Connecticut,
Rhode Island,
Rhode Island,
Vermont,
Vermont.
I'm going to say New Hampshire.
Yeah, probably.
Maine has that weird thing where it might be a split.
Well, we can do Maine here, right? Maine 3 is a
What is there, 5 or 6?
well, there's 4 total. You got the state, then you got 3 districts.
I'd say 3 and 1 just to.
Whoa. Well, we'll just do that. How's that? How's that look?
New Jersey,
Jersey, Virginia, Maryland,
Maryland, Virginia, New Mexico,
Nevada. What do you think? Well, that's
how
leaning.
many?
Let's do with the ones that we know are going to go blue.
Yeah, what's the total there?
Hawaii. Hold on, Hawaii.
Hawaii, that's right.
Right now they're at $2.99. Or I'm sorry, $1.99. I wish it was $2.99. It'd be over. Delaware.
Oh yeah, Delaware.
Delaware and DC both, right?
Well, DC has no electoral votes.
They got 3.
No, I don't think.
According to the map, they did.
Click it, but I don't believe they have any.
Okay.
I hope they have 3 next cycle, along with Puerto Rico 2 or 3.
So we're at 205. Let's go solid red. Okay. Let's start west, work our way east. This is where I kind of falter because I'm not real sure of the red states. Wyoming?
Wyoming.
Montana. Well, sorry. Hold on. Let me fix
red.
That. All right. I'm sorry. Wyoming?
Idaho.
Idaho?
North Dakota, South Dakota. Kansas. Oklahoma. Arkansas.
Arkansas? Louisiana?
Louisiana.
Mississippi?
Mississippi, Alabama. Tennessee. Kentucky. Indiana. West Virginia. I'll tell you who you forgot blue, Minnesota.
Okay, I'll fix it. Here we
go. South Carolina's red. Utah's red. Put Missouri in red. Okay, what do you notice about that now that would have been red normally?
Texas.
Texas.
Florida. Well, Florida's always a toss-up.
Georgia.
Oh, Alaska's red.
Alaska.
Georgia.
North Carolina. Arizona. You know what? Nebraska is going to be a split too.
Well, Nebraska's got 4, right?
Right. They're going to be 3-1 red.
They're going to be 3. So why don't we do this? Do this. Well, there's 4. Well, there's. Okay. Why don't we do that? And then because it's all 1 each. So it really doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. That takes care of Nebraska. So as it sits right now, which we can pretty much agree that these are set in stone. Joe's already at 216. Basically didn't lift a finger. Right?
Right.
Almost double Trump's. Almost double. Let's see how things are leaning now.
Okay, then I'd say leaning, go Wisconsin, Michigan, blue.
Colorado?
Colorado, blue. Arizona's leaning blue. So is Nevada.
Well, guess what? Guess what?
How many's that?
268. We're 2 away. Carolina's leaning blue. Iowa's, well, I don't know about Iowa. Carolina's
That's a toss-up. Carolina's leaning blue.
There you go. Let's assume they're not. Okay, let's assume it's still a toss-up. What about Georgia?
Right now, I think it's close, but it's leaning blue.
It's leaning blue. All right. So
that would take you across right there.
Yeah, well, that's one more than North Carolina. So if North Carolina did, so did Georgia.
And actually, you might have been across with 2 more in Maine.
He's definitely winning Maine. So let's go 2 more in Maine. Okay. Let's just do that. How's that sound?
Okay.
And we'll take Georgia off. There's 270.
270 with
270 right now.
270 with the big boys in play yet.
That's 270. We haven't touched Texas. We haven't touched Florida. We haven't touched Ohio. We have not touched Pennsylvania or Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia. Haven't touched any of them. Let them go any way you want at that point. Let them go any way you want. Doesn't matter. Right? Doesn't matter.
It would end up being tight, but guess what?
270 is 270. It doesn't matter if Trump gets 269 at that point. I mean, yeah, you're going to have a whole lot of drama that's going along with it, but numbers don't lie. You need 270 to win. Fuck Pennsylvania, fuck Ohio, fuck Florida, and fuck Texas, and Biden still wins.
You know what? And he's real close. You know what? They're pissed at Tillis and Trump in North Carolina. You know, you got to look at some of the Senate races too. I mean, Tillis is down 4. Both Republican senators are down in Georgia.
Yeah. Well, here was going to be my next question for you. Since you already brought it up, we might as well hit it. Unfortunately, I can't do the map. I mean, I'm not going to. But how does this dynamic affect down ballot voting or down ballot races? You got to figure it's going to have an impact, right?
Okay, the blues you hit, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to Gardner's gone. Is that who's out there? Republican senator gone?
Gardner, yeah, he's gone.
Arizona, McSally gone.
Gone.
Maine, Collins gone.
Well, hold on. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let me blank this out again. Now I'm not going to be able to save it. So, folks, just here you go. So let me reset this, and we'll just use these things as a reload the page. Okay, let's go Senate now. We said Nevada's going blue, right?
Right.
Okay. So that's 1 seat. Go on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. You had a bunch of them.
Arizona. Georgia.
No, folks, don't pay attention to the electoral map, okay? Just pay attention to the state. So we're 3, not at really 33, just 3.
That could be, there's 2 in Georgia, don't forget.
Oh, there is 2. What about Maine? Because Collins is out.
Collins is gone. That's Maine.
Okay. Guess what?
Colorado.
Guess what? Even without Colorado, Democrats are controlling the Senate. There you go. There's 5.
Don't forget, you got to throw Alabama red, probably.
Well, wasn't it red to begin with? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. You're right. You're correct.
That's where that's Doug Jones, and actually that race is a little tight.
All right. Iowa, Joni Ernst.
Joni Ernst.
Hold on. Where the fuck is Iowa? There it is.
Right there.
Okay.
North Carolina, China.
Yeah. Republicans have some problems.
You know what?
Dems had to flip 4, right?
Montana is now a toss-up.
You know what? Just to make it interesting, let's make Montana. Where the fuck is Montana? Let's make it red. Okay? Just for grins and giggles. Democrats had to be +4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 5. There's still one to the good.
No, because you'd still be up even if that goes red because it's already red.
Okay.
So that one doesn't even count.
So it doesn't even count. That's a wash.
No.
Let's just take that off then. Because it really doesn't matter. So there you go. 1, 2, 3. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -1 is 6. They needed 4. There's still two to the good. We could be off by a quarter, or we could be off by 25%, and the Democrats still win. Still win the Senate. This is not looking good for Republicans, dude. It's not looking good for them.
You know what? They all doubled down on that clown. You know what? Ben Sass in Nebraska finally said something about Trump and QAnon, I think, last night, too.
Yeah.
Too little, too late.
Yeah. At this point, what are you doing? Are you just like one of the last rats off the ship? Lou, it doesn't bode well. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I'm sorry. I know. Like a lot of our MAGA friends really have this hard time believing math, and they're gonna have a hard time with this. But, dude, this isn't exactly hard math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 1. I had to gain 4. I gained 5.
And don't forget, you got a couple other ones that are too close to call too.
Right. Which even if, well, in this case, we're making the assumption that those other ones that are too close to call are staying red. Right? So we're giving them that. We're giving those up.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good. This is what happens whenever you go to extreme and there's no balance. There's nobody to check and balance anything. This is what happens. What do you think?
Bad for Republicans, good for the country.
Yeah. Well,
Democrats.
Who was it that put their party before their country?
Yeah. Democrats need to learn to tell the truth better than Republicans can lie.
They'll always win. They'll always win as long as they do that. Lou, great show tonight. Anything you want to say before we stick a fork in this thing and let people try to ponder how math works?
Actually, here's one too. Did you know the FBI is, because of what Rudy did with the fake shit, they're now investigating Rudy and checking for foreign election interference through Rudy, I guess.
I'm so surprised. Honestly, you know what surprises me about that whole thing? That it took this long.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. It might have been going on for a while.
Well, yeah. Yeah, they're just letting you know now.
You know.
Yeah.
But the other funny thing of the day is, did you see Mary Trump's tweet after Savannah Guthrie's comment about the crazy uncle?
I did not.
Her tweet back after Savannah Guthrie showed Mary Trump's picture, and it said "actually," and that was the only thing it said.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. It's kind of like you're preaching to the choir here, honey.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a great line. That's great. Everybody, thank you so very much for joining us. You really have no idea how much we appreciate it. We will be back Tuesday. Don't forget, not Mondays, on Tuesday. Same bad time, same bad channel. Hopefully, there's supposedly a town hall Thursday. Or I'm sorry, the last debate is supposedly Thursday.
Yeah, we didn't even get to that.
Do you really care?
If you were Biden, what would you do?
I'd do it and just don't stick my neck out.
I'd say if he doesn't get tested, you pull out of it and let Trump hang himself some more. Just give him some more rope.
What we say, the best way to defend against them is just let them talk, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, everybody. Thank you again so very much. We will see everybody Tuesday, same bad time, same bad channel. Until then, have a great weekend. Goodbye, good luck, and